Roll contact.
Retract. They suck back in. You're feeling flat like this.
Sunrise heading 270.
Hello guys, my name is Richard Ephraim, PELAFOE. I'm 18 years old from Indonesia and I'm a FAA commercial pilot with instrument rating, and I did it in 100 plus days with 300 hours of flight. And today I'm gonna share with you how I get this all. So I start my training in 30 of January. That's my first flight, my first experience flying the real airplane. And at that time, I'm still a very newbie, still a student pilot. And I remember my first flight is flight to Camarillo, doing an intro flight with my friend Farandi and my instructor Captain Gemma Guyardi. And it was a very enjoyable experience because I can fly the real airplane, touch the yoke, and feel how to climb, pitch, descent, turning, all of that things, and it was very fun. After that, I do my knowledge tests for my private, also for my instrument and for my commercial. So before I start my flight training, I finish my knowledge test and I pass all of that, and finally I start my private pilot training first. In my private pilot training, it's so, for me, I'm nervous because I'm still a newbie pilot and I have to fly a real airplane, and there's some kinds of maneuvers that I have to master for the check ride, and some of the obstacles on my private that I cannot handle the airplane good, like I push the yoke too much or stress the airplane too much, and my instructor told me that it's not a good thing for the plane, so you have to relax and enjoy. And I also remember when I did my first solo, I did my solo in Van Nuys Airport, and I did a traffic pattern. For me, it's a very amazing experience because I fly alone in the cockpit without my instructor, but I still can sense that my instructor is on the cockpit with me, so I can feel safe, fly the airplane good. When I land, I pick up my instructor and my friend and go back to the airport and see my parents. And I was also happy because my parents was there when I did my solo. It was a very unforgettable moments when I did my solo. After I finished my solo, I start to continuing my maneuvers training and landing training for my private pilot check ride. And when the check ride days come, it's a very nervous moment also because it's like you're going to a lion's den. It's a very scary moment because it was my first check ride. I get my private in 14 days, and it was for some people it's impossible because in just 14 days you got your private. But I did it. I did with a very hard work. I also study every day for my oral. Sometimes I slept like 2 a.m. in the morning and woke up again at 6, 4 hours sleep only, and start flying and start training. But it was very happy when I get my private. After my private, I continued to working on my instrument rating. In my instrument rating, for me it's not easy also, because at the first time I have a weakness on my instrument scanning, because I have to look all of the instruments fast and correct, but it's not easy. I also do some instrument approaches like the ILS and the VORs, and I also did holdings during the preparation for my instrument check ride. In the instrument training, my obstacle is I can really do good on instrument scanning and preparation for the approach, because in that time you have to brief the approach, set all of the frequency, talk to the ATC or the tower of the airport that we want to land, and we have to do it very good, brief, and no rush, but very good. Also, there is some instructor from Russian, his name is Captain Ruslan Birikov. He also trained me on my instrument rating, and he taught me how to do a good holding. So I also did not a good job on my holding, because sometimes I think what radial, how I supposed to hold, and what direction that I have to turn in my holding. Check right day is come. I do the oral part, and most of the oral part is talking about the lost communication procedures. And when the flying part is, I did one ILS, one VOR approach, and one holdings. And it's not an easy test, because some people say FAA instrument check ride is one of the hardest check ride in the world. But I did it. I was happy, and I told to my family that I got my instrument. They also happy to hear about that. And after that, I start my commercial training. And in this commercial part, there's some burden for me, because for me it's hard in the commercial part. Like, I have to do like 3 new maneuvers that we not do on the private, like the lazy 8, chandelles, and 8s on pylons. That it's, for me at the beginning it's hard. Also, the power of 180, it's hard for me. I did my commercial training on a Cessna 172, and most of the commercial maneuvers is like the private maneuvers, but they add like lazy 8s on pylons and chandelles and power of 180 for the commercial check ride. And yeah, it's not easy for me to handle that, but I handle that. But on my first commercial check ride, I failed my check ride, because I'm not prepared well for that. Because I too nervous, I too confused what I have to do. I panic at the airplane, and the examiner told that you need to work more, but don't worry, because you know that I can do it. So it was a stressful moment for me, because I failed. It was a very stressful moment. Like, I thinking about that like 2 days. I cannot smile. Like, I eat food but it doesn't taste anything. It's a horrible moment for me. And I told to my parents that I failed, and they also said, but they encouraged me to do not give up, put away your dirty mind, don't ever think about your fail again. Just think forward that you can do it. Don't think that you're gonna fail, that you're gonna screw up. Just think that you can do it, clear your mind, empty your mind. When I failed my commercial check ride, my instructor told me that you can take your AGI at least if you come back to Indonesia and you didn't get your commercial, at least you have a ground instructor license. And for me, it's good. So I took it, I studied very hard, and I passed with a good score. But after that, I also be a commercial pilot, and I was very happy about my achievement. It's not easy, but I was very happy, and I hope by I'm getting my ground instructor license, I can teach people to become a good pilot. And I also did additional training with some instructor like Mr. Roland. He's a good instructor. He's a German instructor that told me how to be a good commercial pilot. And also Mr. Danrit, he's a Gulfstream pilot. He also told me, do not give up on your dreams because you can do it, but you just need time. But he told me that do not worry because he know that I can make it. So during my retest on my commercial check ride, I just clear my mind, I empty my mind. And first, also we set up the paperwork with the examiner. And after that, I ready to fly, and I said yes, we're ready to fly. And he said, let's get it done today, Richard. Yes sir, let's get it done. And on my retest, I do a diversion. It means like we're flying on somewhere and the instructor told me that let's go divert to this airport or that airport. And yeah, I did the diversion very good and just do a couple of patterns in Van Nuys Airport, and we land. And when we exit the runway to the taxiway, and from the taxiway to the transient, the examiner told me, okay, you did good, better today, you're good. And suddenly he said congratulations, he shakes my hand, and I was very happy because at the first time I did my commercial check ride, I failed. I was so sad. Today I'm a commercial pilot right now, and I'm very happy through all my process of learning. Learning in 14-day Pilot Flight Academy is not just a flight training program, but it's a life learning. Right now I'm an FAA commercial pilot with 300 hours, and I did it in 100+ days. And I just want to tell you that during the training, listen to your instructors. Whatever they say, listen to them because they know what's good for you. And that's my story, guys. I hope you can enjoy this video, and you want to learn to become a good pilot. You can join the 14-day Pilot Flight Academy, and you can follow the Instagram at 14-day pilot. Follow, and also the YouTube channel at 14-day pilot. Subscribe, and you can see so many videos of our training and our daily life in US. And see you guys on the next video.